Hi, this is Rick Roller, and tonight we have another one of our Zoom exam reviews where we actually go through multiple choice questions. We discuss them with you on all the topics that you're going to be looking at. Now, tonight is a national law um, exam, and we're going to be looking at some of the national things, but because the test is divided into two sections. You have the state and you have the national. So a lot of our viewers that, might come in from other states uh, could benefit from this particular video. We do have a number of these that are also on the Utah law specifically, and that, of course, if you're taking the national exam and you're from San Diego or another state other than Utah, you probably don't want to come here. Now, I know San Diego's not a state, but I don't like to say the word California. But anyway, so let's keep going here. All right, so we're gonna jump right in. And tonight, the owner of our school, Mr. Danny Naylor, is also running the technical parts of this program. I'm Rick Roller, longtime real estate broker. Dan, it's been over 45 years. Okay, you got my intro. You say 30. That was like 10 years ago. I mean, come on. So you might want to take a look at that. But I'm really thrilled to be here tonight with you because you can do this. You can pass this test, but you're going to have to prep. First of all, you're going to have to go through all your classes, and various states have different hours. Here in Utah, it's 120 hours you have to go through, but that is both national and state law. And then you have to go take the test, and so, but it is a multiple choice test. So right answer will be there. You just have to recognize it, kind of pick it out of a lineup of four. So with no further ado, Danny, let's have our first question. So here we go. We have a seller, S, who has agreed to listing the house and paying a commission if the real estate agent found a buyer. However, S wanted to be able to avoid a commission if one of his neighbors bought the house, and he had a specific neighbor in mind. And so what we're looking at here is the question is, what would accomplish this for S? Now, who is S again? S is the seller, right? Now, what I suggest you do is you read the stem of the question twice before you even look at the answers, so you really understand what you're looking for. So, looking at our answers, which one of these types of situations would accommodate a seller who needed to pay you if you're marketing his home, but if he had one of his neighbors who we would probably put in a contract by name, that person would be excluded from the listing. So, would it be an exclusive right to sell contract? Well, that alone is sounding pretty good. This is what you can put on the MLS, of course, but it wouldn't accomplish what the seller wanted to do, which was to exempt a party. Okay, so let's look at B, an exclusive right to sell contract with an exemption. Now that's feeling really warm and fuzzy. But don't just grab that and forget the other two. Look at the other two to verify they couldn't be right. And C is there's no contract to handle this situation. Well, we don't have a contract that specifically says an exclusive right to sell with an exception, but we do have the exclusive right to sell. And that's cool because you can write an exception into that contract. So, so that is the contract we would use to handle this situation. And then D, a single party exclusive right to sell. It's still exclusive right to sell, but a single party only applies to one particular buyer. Sometimes you can get a for sale by owner to work with you, and so you would want to get a listing with that, and the one you would want to use there would be a single party listing. So out of these four, the answer, of course, is B. You'll use the exclusive right to sell contract, but it will have an exemption in it, and that exemption will be for the and make sure you put them in by name. Don't just say "and one buyer excluded" because that means they can continue to look for them. But a lot of times the seller will have a neighbor or a buyer that says, "Man, George, if you ever want to sell this house, oh, this is such a cool house. I'd love to come buy it from you." But that doesn't mean that that buyer is in a particular situation at this moment to buy that house. It just, and who knows? It could have been a cocktail party. It could have been a little inebriated, or I don't know. or maybe it'd work out. So, but you want that exclusive right to sell with an exemption, and the exemption needs to be written in the contract and specified to a certain individual. Let's go to number 2, please.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of them. And if you want even more review material, we have in the Prep My Exam link in the comments, we've got a plethora of practice exams. We have audiobooks, we have an exam simulator, we have everything that our students use to pass the exam on their first try. Okay? And if you want to get licensed in Utah, check out realestateonlinelearning.com and we'll hook you up.
Okay, number 2 is, what responsibility does a listing sales agent have to a buyer? Well, in our state of Utah, we are a fiduciary state, which means that you have a lot of responsibilities to your clients. And but that's you know, that's if you had listed the buyer. This is a listing sales agent, which means they listed the seller. If you signed a buyer's agency agreement, then you'd have a buyer's agency agreement with a buyer, but that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about a listing sales agent. So do you owe them loyalty? Well, you owe your seller loyalty, but not a buyer. Okay, would you only disclose honest and fair dealing? Well, that one sounds pretty good. Hang on to that one. All fiduciary duties, no. You owe all those fiduciary duties to your client, who is the seller, not the buyer. Okay, and so the same duties as the client? No, no. So of these 4, obviously the answer is only disclosure, honesty, and fair dealing. Okay, you owe that to anyone. I mean, you can't cheat and rob people, and if that you're the kind of person that likes to cheat and rob people, then close down this video and forget about it. We don't want you in this business. Okay, you'll be found out and you'll be severely disciplined and you'll be gone anyway. So, I mean, repent, I say, and, walk the straight line, and then we'd welcome you in this business. We need good people. And you know what? The market goes up, the market comes down right now as we're facing the first part of the year in 2024. Our market seems to be receding a little bit. It's kind of doing a little bit of a pullback, and that's great. You know, buyer's market, seller's market, it's always a realtor's market. Let's look at number 3, please. As an independent contractor, a sales agent, okay, as an independent contractor, okay, which is what you'll be. Most brokers don't hire you as an employee. There is a potential that you might work for a builder and they may put you on some sort of a wage program, but virtually all of us are independent contractors, okay? So, sales agent A, income taxes are not taken out of the commission checks. Well, that sounds pretty good. That's true. B, the agent must attend all sales meeting required by the broker. Well, broker has a hard time requiring you to do something. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're an independent contractor. The more it starts looking like you're an employee in a job, well, then they're going to have to start taking FICA out of your checks. The broker's going to have to match it. And, you might be invited to attend all the sales meetings, but required? That's a little harsh. See, the sales agent is entitled to a paid vacation time. I don't think so. A D is entitled to employee benefits. No, you're not an employee. You're an independent contractor. Said that right in the stem of the question. So we're looking at answer A. You're going to be responsible for your own taxes. And there's a lot of ways that you can soften those, but because you can make real serious money in this business. I mean, if you're thinking of the normal sales price, well, like if you're in St. George, there the average sales price in St. George is a little under $800,000. So for easy math, let's call it 700, 6% commission. If it's 800, 6% commission, that's a lot of money. And if you're on both sides, and if you're on one side, it's a 3% commission, but even $21,000 as one side of that, $700,000 deal, you split with your broker, you're going to need some serious tax help. Okay. Because you're going to be making some serious money. That's if you apply yourself, which I think you will. Number 4, It's a tremendous opportunity. Sales agents for ABC Realty accepts an offer from sales agent Y that's with a different company, Triple L. Okay, after closing, who receives the commission directly? Well, for the test, the answer is it would always go to the listing broker, the one that listed the sales, which would be on the seller side. Okay, so that would be ABC. That would be answer A. That's the correct answer. ABC sales agent. No, it doesn't go to the sales agent directly. And then LLL broker or LLL sales agent. No. What normally happens if there are no escrow instructions given to the title company to the contrary is they pay the listing brokerage. So that's the only one that really works on the exam. In real life, there are escrow instructions that a broker could sign uh, specif- specifying the title company where to send various checks. But for the exam, they don't take that into consideration. So the answer is ABC broker. Now, here's a situation where, for those of you that are taking the broker's test, um, this is the answer you need to give. The listing brokerage, the one that's working with the seller, will receive the commission, and then that listing brokerage would cut out checks to the other company and also to their agent. But in the real life, maybe a broker can give escrow instructions that would say something different. But on the test, this is what you're going to give. That is if you want to pass. Okay, let's look at number 5. Yeah, and I mentioned a broker test because one of the problems that we have, is that, well, in real world, my checks come this way, and then, well, that's not going to work. Okay, number 5, you have to answer it in a general sense. Okay, the broker, and because that is what happens unless it's something different. Okay, the broker's requirement that the agent maintain insurance coverage is targeted at which of the following concerns? Public liability, A, B, profits, or C, market share, or D, reputation. Well, what do you get insurance for? Is it to cover profits, market share, or reputation? No, it's to soften public liability. So the correct answer to number 5, of course, is A. Okay, public liability. Because public liability means you're going to get sued by somebody, or at least they're going to challenge you on something. And so that's why you need insurance. I mean, if you're driving around a car that has hot dog realtors, painted all over it and whatnot, or even if you're just using car signs, and then you run into someone, and someone might think, well, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to sue your insurance company, and I'm going to sue the company you work for because you were using that car, obviously, to represent ABC Realty. Um, so is the broker out of line for asking you to make sure you have proper insurance? Oh, heavens no. And probably it'll be in your employment contract, your independent contractors agreement. Public liability is what they're trying to soften here. I mean, if the a judge rules against you, and it could be a lot of money. So number 6. Okay, number 6 talks about a real no-no and something that could sneak up on a broker, and it's called commingling. Commingling is a word associated with what? A, depositing client or customer deposits directly into the brokerage operating account. Ugh. Hey, that's why we have trust accounts. If a client gives you an earnest money check, you don't put that in your operating account. Okay, well, so I don't like that one. Or maybe that is the right one. See, is this a negative question or is it a positive question? It's a definition question. So if you're talking about commingling, which is something you should not do, you're looking for a negative answer or something that would result in a negative result, particularly if the real estate, you know, investigators come out and look at your things, look at all your accounts. Okay, so let's hang on to A a little bit. Okay, let's look at B, using the same trust account for property management and sales trust funds. Now, there are situations where you can do that if you have a lot of property management activity going on. You want 2 separate trust accounts. See, racially integrated offices. What's that have to do with anything? Yeah, okay. I mean, we accept all people of all different walks of life racial persuasions. Okay, B, more than one agent assigned to the same territory. No, that's not. Yeah, that's what a bogus answer that is. Okay, obviously, folks, it's mixing up the monies. Okay, the answer is A. That is commingling. That is a classic definition of the word commingling. So, you know, don't don't do that. Okay, let's look at number 7, please. Chipping right along. All right. Okay, conversion is a word associated with stealing. Okay, using client deposit funds to pay the brokerage bills. Oh my gosh, that's stealing. Turning a lead into a client. No, that's not what we're talking about here. Turning a property management agreement into a listing agreement or vice versa. Well, if you have a property management agreement and you're managing a condo association or something, wouldn't you expect to get some of those owners to list with you, or if it's townhouse development? Sure. So that's not, we're not talking about that. Turning a sign call into an offer on a property. You want to turn sign calls into offers on properties, okay? You want those sign calls, okay? Um, and for those of you that I get a chance to see in our live classes, ask me about the use of QR codes on your sign and how that QR code could take your buyers directly to a little video that you put together. We'll spend a little bit of time maybe on a break, or if we have a couple of moments in class, I'll explain that to you. Because you know what? One of the problems we have with buyers, I mean, they're cruising around in their cars looking without you, and maybe not even without any realtor, and they want, oh man, look at that house, that is really cool, I wonder how much it is, I wonder about this and that and whatnot. And they go, oh, there's a brochure box, and they go to the brochure box and it's empty. They're always empty. So you don't want to use brochure boxes. You want to use a QR code that they can scan with their smartphone and take them directly to your video, where you can tell them to give you a call right this moment. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk about that sometime. We get a chance to work together. Number 8, in a live class. Number 8. Okay, 7A. Yeah. Okay, number 8. In a business sale transaction, a business sale. Now, do you have to have a license to sell businesses? If it involves real estate, yes, and particularly even if it's just a lease. In a business sale transaction, if an assignment agreement is used, it's likely in connection with which of the following? Only one applies. Real estate owned, real estate lease, inventory owned, or equipment owned. A, B, C, or D. What do you think, guys? Well, guys, if you're leaning towards B, real estate leased, that would be an assignment. See, you're selling a business, and typically that business has a location. Now, if you're selling something that doesn't have a location, it doesn't have a real estate existence, it's probably a franchise or something. That's a whole different business. Excuse me, that's a whole different gig. We're selling real estate that's connected to a business. So, an assignment agreement is what you're looking for here, because if it was real estate owned, it would be a deed. And if it's inventory or equipment owned, those are both personal property, be bills of sale. So we're looking at a lease. So it would apply to, the assignment of a lease, and hopefully you get a release of liability if you're the business owner. So B is the correct answer here. Great question. It kind of comes from outer space, but that's why Pearson View likes it, or one like this, because they, look, come on, they're a business. They want you to take the test more than once. If you have a limited universe of people that are only want to get into the real estate business, how are you going to increase profitability? Well, by having tough questions that people took the exam, so they have to take it more than once. But that's okay, because you're following us on these exam reviews, and we have a number of them. I mean, gosh, it's like 26 of them or something. They were very helpful. Also, you could call me. You can call the school as well, but my personal cell phone number is 801 556 8000. 801 556 8000. You're welcome to call me. And, if you have a question on something, I'm happy to help you any way that I can. Let's look at number 9. I usually get about, 6 calls or so a week. Number 9, the law requiring notice of creditors and notice to creditors is found in which of the following laws? Okay. Is it the Bulk Sales Act, the Uniform Commercial Code, the Sherman Antitrust, or something else? Fill in D, whatever with whatever you want, because that's the wrong answer. Uniform Commercial Code and the Sherman Antitrust Act are things that we do study, and of course, we do study the Bulk Transfer Act. But the Bulk Transfer Act is what we're looking for here. That is the correct answer because if there's a notice of creditors, it's going to be some sort of a business type sale. And so A, Bulk Transfer Act is the correct answer. And go ahead and highlight that, Dan. And then A, Bulk Transfer Act. In the Bulk Transfer Act is where you're not going into this particular business and buying one widget. You're going in, you're buying the whole business and all the inventory. And so the Bulk Transfer Act requires certain notices to be given to creditors so that they have a chance to either, settle the account of that business. It'd be one thing if you bought all the inventory from the business and then found out later it had a big loan against it that wasn't paid off. So it protects both buyer and seller. It keeps that transaction on, on an above board basis, and it has compliances that must be dealt with. And if you're selling businesses, you know what they are. Number 10, because you'll be trained in that. Let's look at number 10, please. Number 10 says which of the examples below is not, see how not is capitalized there? An exception to the requirements of the fair housing laws. So this is so we want to know which one does not apply. Okay. All right. So we're looking at number A here. It's a church-owned property building that's always rented only to members and lets anyone join their church. Okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, it's a church-owned building, so they can restrict different people if they want to, and not be an exception. That is an exception. The female owner of a single-family home renting a bedroom who advertises females only. Well, um, you know, you might say, well, wait a minute, can you put females only in the ad? It's probably better not to, but you can do it because it is kind of moving someone into a bedroom in your domicile. I mean, so can you be a little bit more careful about who does that? Yeah, you can certainly do that, um, but you can't put females only in the ad, okay? Because this one is not an exception. See, the church-owned property is an exception. And the female owner of a single family renting a bedroom, well, that's like, you're inviting them into your house, into your living quarters. So you can do that, but don't put that in the ad, females only, because we don't want to make the appearance that you're going to be discriminatory. But anyway, what about C? An owner of a triplex who lives in one unit rents out the other two. That is fine. You can do that. Okay, that's not an exception. Okay, that is an exception. So condo complex that requires everyone who buys or lives there to be at least 60 years old. That's another exception. Okay, so the one that is not an exception is putting females only in the ad. Okay, and there's really stiff penalties for this. Now the the problem is that for sale by owners, or for in this case, for rent by owner, perhaps, um, doesn't they don't go to real estate school, and maybe they don't know about this. So one of the things you might do is, if you see an ad like that in the paper, is call them up and say, folks, I'd like to come over and talk to you about your property and putting it up for sale, with someone like me, a professional, because the advertisement you have in today's paper or whatever actually is it's a violation of fair housing laws. And I say, well, what does that mean? Well, it could mean a penalty like this or that. It can get you into trouble. So there's just some rules that have to be governed, and that govern our activities in the business, even if you are an owner. So I'd recommend you hire me, and I'll take care of it for you. Number 11. Which of the following is the best definition of the term redlining? Okay. Redlining always, 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 always applies to a lender. Okay. So let's look at our answers based on that kind of, help on the definition here. It's spreading rumors of minorities moving into the development. Well, that's not even nice, but but it's not redlining. Okay. Refusing loans in certain areas because of ethnic makeup. Now, remember I said this is something a lender might do? So the fact that they have refusing loans in certain areas because of ethnic makeup, that's a real no-no for a lender. And redlining refers to what activities a lender should not be doing. So we like that one. Number 9, not showing homes in a largely white area to people of color. Well, that has nothing to do with redlining. I mean, that is against fair housing, but that's not redlining. Okay. Redlining, by definition, is something a lender does, not refusing to rent. Okay, it's not a landlord thing, it's a lender thing. So the only one that has anything to do with lenders here, folks, is B, refusing loans in certain areas based on an ethnic makeup. And that is redlining. That's where a lender says, "Oh, we don't make loans in that area because all them people live there." That's against federal law. And there's something called a tester. Now, a tester are people that will not identify themselves as a tester. They just come out and they go to open houses and they call agents and maybe meet them at a house and they say things like, "Well, what's the ethnic makeup in this neighborhood? We don't want to move to, where those kind of the wrong kind of people live here." I mean, so they would say things that would entrap either like a homeowner or even an agent. And now, of course, we've been trained and we know better than to say stupid things like that, but maybe the homeowner doesn't. But redlining refers to illegal activities that a lender might be performing. Let's look at number 12. Number 12. Yeehaw, if a broker only shows a minority client properties in areas where other members of the minority live, he might be guilty of what? Okay, redlining is when a lender does it. But if you're a broker now and you're saying, well, I know just the right neighborhood for you folks because, it's where, people you can relate to live. I mean, people like that's not redlining. It's not right either, but it's something called steering, okay, which is C. So redlining refers to a lender, okay. Block busting is something that is also illegal where you're spreading rumors and that kind of thing. Good Sales Practices Act, well, that would be good, but what we're saying here is if you're a broker and you're taking them only to minority neighborhoods because you think they'd fit in better there, you won't be a broker very long. And you won't be an agent either because they're steering. And boy, if that happened once, and these are testers, man, and they don't have to identify themselves. Maybe later says, "Well, we just want you to know we're testers, and you passed the test." And they do occasionally come out. They do occasionally come out. Okay, maybe in a budget crunch and stuff the federal government's having these days. Yeah, there may be less, but there may be more. I don't know. That it's a very important topic, but it's one we just don't do that. Look, the only color or that you should see is green. I don't care where their ethnic background is. I mean, no Irish need apply, or are you Hispanic or black or Asian? I mean, come on, you only see green. Okay, be willing to work with anyone. Be fair and honest with all people at all times. Number 13. Now, number 13 is talking about a private club. Now, a private club may limit leasing to its own members. Okay, as long as well, the units are not also leased commercially. This is a private club. Okay. The organization is also charitable. They don't have to be charitable. They could be a profit for profit. No public advertising is used. Well, that's okay. No real estate agents are used. Okay. So a private club may limit leasing to its own members as long as A, the units are not also leased commercially. Okay. We don't, I really don't know of any of these in Utah. I mean, we have quite a few of them back east, but not here. Okay, so that was number 13, folks. All right, let's look at number 14. Here we go. All right, exciting. Okay, the equal opportunity housing poster. Now, this is a poster that we all put in our offices. Okay, but the equal housing opportunity poster um, is an option a brokerage can use to demonstrate that the brokerage complies with fair housing laws. Do you think an option, to comply with fair housing or not is going to be given to anybody? I don't think so. Number B, required. Ooh, I like that. To be on display at the brokerage or the brokerage will be deemed to be not in compliance with fair housing laws. So, a little poster has to be posted. Hang on to that one. Well, hang on to it because that's a really good alternative here. Um, well, it's the right answer. C, the display of which is all that's required in order to brokerage to comply with fair housing. No, no, no. Display is one of the requirements. There's a lot of others, like, you just don't do stupid things and discriminate against people. You remember, you only see green. Or D, a method of reaffirming that buyers and sellers have certain rights. No, no, guys, the right answer to this one on number 14 is B. It's required to be on display in a brokerage, or the brokerage will be deemed to not be in compliance with fair housing laws. Okay. So I don't know. That was should just have jumped right out at you. If it didn't, guys, you need to spend a little bit more time in the 120-hour pre-licensing course, particularly on the national topics. Now, if you do go take the exam, and let's say you pass the state portion, but you don't pass the national portion, well, uh, dang it. Maybe you're just like one question away from passing. Dang it. When you go back, if you pass the state, you don't have to take that over again. You only have to take the national. Okay. Okay, let's look at number 15. Number 15 says you cannot. See how they capitalize not again? That's what they do in the test. They're not going to try to hide that, because it's kind of like shifting gears. I mean, you were going forward, and all of a sudden, whoop, you're going in reverse now. You cannot legally refuse to rent to which of the following? Okay, which of the following would be a real no-no? A single pregnant woman, all right, single or married, but a pregnant woman or a single pregnant woman. Someone convicted of a violent assault. Well, maybe they did their time, they did the crime, but they did they did their time and now they're out again. Um, if they've had that conviction, that's not a reason for refusing. If someone who sells cocaine, well, okay. Well, I just wanted you to know I do have a side business. I'm involved. No, I don't, okay. You cannot legally refuse. Could you refuse someone that's convicted of violent assault? How about someone who sells cocaine? How about someone with a bad credit history? Well, you know what? You just have bad credit. We don't want to rent to you. So, of all these guys, the one who should jump out at you is a single pregnant woman. Okay. So, the correct answer to 15 is A. Okay. Shouldn't have been a big problem here. Okay. On that one. Okay. Our final question for tonight is an owner suddenly pulls a property off the market after hearing that the agent on the hearing from the agent on the phone that the agent had received a full price offer from a minority party. Now, I don't even know how that would come up in a conversation. I guess, maybe the surname or something, maybe Gonzalez. I don't know. I don't know, but it's a full price offer. The agent then informs the offer or that the home has been removed from the market and is unavailable. Which parties, if any, have violated fair housing? The agent only, the owner only, the agent and the owner, and neither the agent or the owner. Okay, now does this sound like a violation of fair housing? I don't want minorities moving into this neighborhood. I wouldn't do that to my neighbors, the seller says. And you inform him that he's not only a bigot, but you can't do that based on federal law. Well, maybe he repents and say, "Oh, I didn't know that." Yeah, okay. Well, if I can't do it, I can't do it. That's fine. Okay. But if If they're in cahoots, now if anyone calls, just tell them it's been taken off the market. Okay. Then it would be the agent and the owner, because that's the most complete answer here. The answer C. Neither the agent or the owner, obviously that's wrong. The owner only or the agent only. Well, it depends on who said this, but according to our stem of the questionnaire, which is quite lengthy, uh, it you know it the owner heard or overheard the conversation. So, and the conversation was with the agent, so they'd be in cahoots. Okay, can't do that. Well, that's our last question for the night. Once again, I want to reiterate, thank you for coming. These detailed examination of very close to what you're going to see is the way to study for the test. Now that means, of course, that you've already gone through the material and you've been exposed to it, and you should have learned some things. Okay, but to fine tune that learning, I can think of no better way to prepare for the exam than to work with exam type questions. So you get used to using in a multiple choice type you get used to performing in a multiple choice type situation. Okay, so hey, thanks for being here tonight. We really appreciate you. And, my name's Rick Roller, and this is sponsored by the Institute of Real Estate Education, which I consider to be the finest school in the whole state of Utah. So thanks for being here with us tonight, and check out our other videos on these exam type reviews. We have over 24 of them, and I think you'll find them very, very helpful. And good luck to you. And you can do this.
Thanks for watching. If you want to show some appreciation to our instructors, be sure to like and subscribe so that they see how much you enjoyed it. And if you want any additional review material, check the links below for our full suite of practice materials for the real estate license exam. Thank you.